divine presence in the midst of suffering. Now that's not an easy one, but that goes to the core of Vedanta. You see, when we speak about the difficulty of recognizing the divine in the midst of this world of suffering, there is a fundamental misconception about what we consider the divine to be. In Vedanta, the true nature of the divine is pure consciousness. A good comparison would be light. Sunlight shines upon pleasure and pain equally. In fact, our recognition of suffering, our recognition of happiness, all of it depends on this the light of consciousness within us. So the divine is always there. It makes possible our life. What Vedanta would say is, truly speaking, suffering is actually the lack of recognition of this light. That we do not recognize the one true consciousness which shines through our minds and in our speech, our thoughts, our actions, one consciousness in all being. The fact that we do not recognize this ultimately leads to suffering. Let me do a little bit of Vedantic philosophy here. There is an interesting chain which the Vedanta teachers speak about. Why do we have suffering? And the answer would be, well, because of this embodied existence. The very fact that we are these limited creatures of flesh and blood, they open us up to suffering. But then the question is, why do we have these bodies of flesh and blood? Why are we in this embodied existence? And Vedanta would say these bodies are the product of our past karma. What we have done in this life, and especially in past lives, what we have done in past lives has produced this embodied existence for us. And in past lives, we have worked, we have done all sorts of actions. Broadly speaking, some actions are dharma, dharmic, which is moral, we recognize to be good. And some are not so good, they are called adharmic. Now the result of dharma is merit, which results in happiness. The result of adharma is demerit, which results in unhappiness. And the combined result is what we see in this life. Now if we go further back, why do we do these actions, dharma and adharma? The Vedantic answer to that is because of desire. We want something, therefore we engage in conscious action in order to satisfy our wants. So desire is at the root of action. And then what is at the root of desire? If you go further back, Vedanta will say a sense of incompleteness is at the root of desire. I feel that I am incomplete without money or relationships or without success or fame or power or even say religion. And therefore I engage in action, born of a desire, born of a sense of incompleteness, and the desire leads to action. But why do we have a sense of incompleteness? Here is the crux of Vedanta, that we are truly infinite spirit. We are not mortal creatures. We do not know this, and therefore we think we are limited. What we know are these little bodies and little minds, and these are definitely limited. And we take ourselves to be these limited bodies and minds, not knowing our own unlimited nature. So finally we come to this ignorance, this not knowingness, if I may use the term, of our true nature. So you see, the whole problem is driven back to a question of knowledge and ignorance. If we knew ourselves as we truly are, then we would find this consciousness, this immortal consciousness within ourselves, and finding it within ourselves, we would immediately recognize it in others. You see, we can see others as bodies, and we know that they have minds from our own experience. When we look inside, when we introspect, we experience our thoughts, emotions, feelings, ideas. So we know we have minds, and we infer the others also have minds. But we first need to find that we are this infinite consciousness within. Then only when we realize ourselves as infinite consciousness and we look around and we see people, and we will know then, yes, that infinite consciousness which is so clear within me is also within them. It is one consciousness through and through. So then the question of divine presence will not be a matter of faith or speculation, it will be a matter of fact, a matter of direct perception.